Shabbat shalom, everybody. I'm coming for the whole kitchen. That makes sense. I might ruffle for a few feathers. If anybody has an issue, just understand I'm also throwing myself under the bus here. Okay? I actually tried to go with this study a little bit different, so I'm going to be providing a lexical breakdown. So I'm just going to go straight into it. This is not for the people that are older. This is more so for the people in my generation. So I'm not speaking to anybody who's here that's been here for a long time. I'm not speaking to you guys. I'm speaking to the people of my age, my generation, and younger, and anybody that's in my generation. So please bear with me. My lexical reconstruction, when I broke this down and I was breaking down the definitions using the Greek concordance, right, this is the translation that I was able to grab. So the breakdown, what I'm getting at is, when we're looking at verses 18 through 32, I'm not just reading the English words, right? I'm asking, what are the verses actually saying? What is the Greek actually communicating? So I started to look at the lexical interpretation behind it all. Because of this, if I just didn't want to read it for face value, right? The service level. We look at verse 18, for the wrath of Elohim is revealed. When we hear wrath, our mind usually goes to rage, anger, punishment. But the Greek word used here is orge. I don't know how to say that, but it doesn't mean punishment. It actually means pressure building, the natural consequence of something being out of order, right? Out of alignment. So what's being said is Yahweh's judgment shows up when he steps back and he lets the people walk into the results of them rejecting him. So, and it's not Yahweh attacking them. It's not Yahweh punishing them. It's Yahweh letting go, giving them space for their choices to play out, right? And then when you look at it again, he says, against those who suppress the truth. Suppress in Greek actually means to intentionally push down, right? Not to ignore, not to misunderstand, but to reject what you already know is truth. So he's saying basically, look around. The creation itself exposes the reality of the creator. And the Greek phrase without excuse means without defense. This is the translation I'm getting here, the lexical breakdown, that without excuse is the without a defense. This is courtroom language, like a courtroom, right? In the heavenly courts of the Father, he gave them over is actually a legal term, meaning to hand someone over for judgment, like a judge releasing a prisoner to consequences. This is actually a decreation chapter where humanity is undoing itself, right? It's falling out of order, which is actually laid out as a progression here in verses 21 through 23, right? When we see the words, neither were they thankful, right? That's unthankfulness, which is actually interpreted as empty thinking. Their thinking became hollow. That's the Greek meaning of unthankfulness. It's just their thinking had became hollow. It's not deep, it's not wise, and it's not grounded. That's why it says in verse 22, professing themselves to be wise, they became fools. It's just noise. And we see right now, when we look at today, speaking of like certain things and, what we were mentioning, right? People burning sage to cleanse energy, the, crystals and rocks for protection, tarot cards and zodiac signs guiding life decisions. Another one is the rainbow flags and whole identities built off of whatever culture is pushing them, right? Subscribing to every ism, feminism, spiritualism, you name it. Even that, I just saw this earlier today. Again, my group of people, there's something called a septum ring theory. Basically, people just basically is where rebellion becomes the whole personality of a person. Rebellion is their personality, right? Another example is when some people come out and are praised as brave and secure, but let a man, like, he comes out as feminine, and all of a sudden now it's, hey, go ahead, more power to you. But let a man walk in his masculine integrity, his headship, his responsibility, right? And then all of a sudden it's called toxic masculinity. things are reversed, right? And then there's several stuff. And actually, I wanted to point this out because I had a friend come to me that mentioned something to me that was even in music. Right now, little kids are repeating lyrics of 6-7. They're doing all this like 6-7, whatever, so on and so forth, which is actually referring to the deities of Santeria. That's a part of my culture, even though it's coming from somebody who's actually of Cuba, but that religion is actually, and when people who are Americanized, they're like, that's not that deep. What do you mean that's not that deep? You have little kids referring, the numbers 6-7 is actually referring to the deities. And you can actually identify some of those people by the chains and the little collars that they wear, the colors. Are you familiar with that, Luz? No? Okay. So that they wear different color beads, and that's how they identified according to the deities that are over them, right? So it's like green and yellow, it's one deity, blue and red or whatever, blue and white and whatever. That's how you identify them. You see them, they wear like white, right? And then all of a sudden they wear different colors. Anyways, I digress. But that actually is the meaning. That's why they even put that lyric in, and got little kids singing that. And people are like, oh, that just means whatever. Like, just, no, it's not. And you know what I'm saying? Again, don't try to get me to drink the Kool-Aid, right? Because I know exactly what that means. So, and he actually, the artist actually is outwardly, he says it. He mentions it. He's like, yeah, I practice this. My grandfather or my uncle is like, yeah. But anyways, I digress. Right, and that's basically Romans 1 in real time. That's what we're seeing in the world.